Well, folks, it's finally here, election night in the UK, and the tension is as thick as a double-decker bus trying to navigate a roundabout during rush hour. The polling stations have closed, the ballot boxes are being cracked open, and across the nation, people are glued to their tellies, wondering who'll be leading them into the bold and uncertain future. Will it be a return to the old guard, or will we see a new face at 10 Downing Street? One thing's for sure. It's going to be a long and bumpy night. As I type this, the exit polls are just starting to trickle in, and already there are gasps and cheers echoing around living rooms. It's a political roller coaster, and we're all strapped in for the ride. Forget your Netflix binges and your late-night takeaways, because tonight the only drama that matters is unfolding live from the counting halls across the land. Keep your browsers locked right here, because we'll be bringing you all the live updates, the breaking news, and of course, the witty commentary to help you make sense of it all. So grab a cuppa, settle in, and let's see how this political thriller unfolds. We're now several hours into this election night extravaganza, and the picture is starting to become clearer, like a blurry landscape painting slowly coming into focus. The Conservatives are holding their own in rural areas, but those urban centres are proving to be a tougher nut to crack. All eyes are on Birmingham, Manchester and Glasgow, where the margins are tight and the outcome could swing the balance of power. One thing's for certain, this election is proving to be a real nail-biter. We're talking edge of your seat, biting your nails, refreshing your Twitter feed every 5 seconds kind of tension. Remember those good old days when elections were predictable? Pepperidge Farm remembers. But hey, that's what makes it exciting, right? This is democracy in action, folks, a real-life political thriller where the stakes are high and the outcome affects us all. So, pour yourself another cuppa, grab a biscuit, or maybe something a bit stronger, and let's see what the rest of the night has in store for us. Section 5, Profiles in Power, a look at the key players. Now, let's take a moment to meet the main contenders in this political boxing match, shall we? In the blue corner, we have the incumbent Prime Minister, a man who's been compared to everyone from Winston Churchill to a slightly exasperated headmaster trying to maintain order in a particularly rowdy school assembly. His supporters praise his leadership and his get-things-done attitude, while his critics, well, let's just say they're less than impressed with his policies. And in the red corner, we have the leader of the opposition, a charismatic figure who's been compared to everyone from Tony Blair to, well, a slightly less exasperated headmaster trying to inspire a slightly less rowdy school assembly. His supporters see him as a breath of fresh air, a much-needed change from the status quo, while his critics question his experience and his ability to lead. Of course, it's not just a two-horse race. We've got the Liberal Democrats, the Green Party, the SNP up in Scotland, and a whole host of other parties vying for your vote. It's like a political buffet out there, folks, with something to suit every taste, or at least that's the idea.
Section 6. What this means for Brexit and beyond. Ah, Brexit. The word that's become as synonymous with British politics as tea and biscuits, or perhaps more accurately, tea and a sense of existential dread. No matter who emerges victorious tonight, one thing's for sure. They'll have the unenviable task of navigating the UK through the choppy waters of a post-Brexit world. Will we see a closer relationship with Europe, or will the UK continue to chart its own course, for better or worse? Will the economy boom, or will it go bust? Will we finally be able to get a decent cup of coffee in peace? Or will we be forever doomed to argue about politics over our lattes? Only time will tell, my friends. But one thing's for certain, the decisions made by the next government will have far-reaching consequences for the UK's place in the world, its economy, and yes, even its coffee-drinking habits.
Section 7, the people have spoken, decoding the mandate. As the final results roll in, it's not just about who won the most seats, but what that victory actually means. What message did the people send with their votes? Were they endorsing the status quo, or were they demanding change? Were they voting based on policy, personality, or perhaps a potent combination of both? Decoding the electoral mandate is a bit like trying to decipher ancient hieroglyphics after a few too many pints down the pub. It's a messy, imprecise business full of interpretation and speculation. But that's the beauty of democracy, isn't it? It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it's ultimately up to the people to decide what it all means. So while the pundits and the politicians will no doubt spend the next few days, or let's face it, the next few years, dissecting the results, the real answer lies with the people who cast those votes.
Section 8. And the winner is... Predictions and possibilities. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're approaching the final act of this political thriller. The results are almost all in, and the mathematicians are working their magic, crunching the numbers to determine who will be leading the country into the next chapter. Will it be a clear victory for one party, or are we heading for another hung parliament, where coalitions and compromises become the order of the day? Will the exit polls prove accurate, or will there be a last-minute twist in the tale? The tension is palpable, the anticipation is thicker than a London fog, and I, for one, wouldn't want to be the one announcing the results to a nation holding its breath.
Section 9, the morning after, looking ahead to the future. And so, after a long and tumultuous night, the sun rises on a new day and a new era in British politics. The election is over, the votes have been counted, and the nation has spoken, albeit sometimes in hushed, uncertain tones. Now the real work begins. The new government, whoever they may be, will have a mountain of challenges to tackle, from the economy to the NHS to, yes, the ever-present spectre of Brexit. But beyond the policies and the politics, beyond the winners and the losers, lies a simple truth. Democracy has prevailed. The people have had their say, and now it's time for their elected representatives to listen, to lead, and to hopefully build a better future for all. And if they can do all that while keeping the tea flowing and the biscuits stocked, well, that's just icing on the cake, isn't it?